Hey kiddos, hope you're having a great day. We're going to do our last two factoring ways of factoring today. So I am trying to make these videos as short as possible. That way, I think we'll be in the building by the time you all watch this for the most part, so you'll have me to help you. I also don't want to bore you to sleep with a long video, but please make sure you are taking notes, you're listening, you're writing down important things I say, and we should be good to go. All right, so go ahead and add this to your factoring notes today. We're doing my absolute favorite type of factoring. I'm very excited. All right, so we have grouping. Well, grouping's not my favorite, but the next one's my favorite, but grouping's pretty cool too. So for grouping, that's normally done whenever we have 4 or more terms. So typically it's just 4. And you're essentially doing greatest common factor with your 4 terms. So a lot of times when you're doing grouping, you're trying to break up your group of 4 into 2 groups of 2. So you're looking to kind of group things together that have a lot in common. So let's see. For our purposes, they're already going to be grouped the way they need to be grouped. So you don't have to rearrange anything like that. But if we have 4 terms, we're going to break it up into 2 groups of 2. And then we're going to do greatest common factor for each of those groups. So you're going to see what is the biggest thing I can pull out of 2x cubed plus 2x squared, plus x squared. The greatest that I can pull out is just going to be an x squared. And if I pull out an x squared, I'm going to be left with 2x plus 1. And then we're going to be left with 2x plus 1, the second one. What's the biggest thing I can pull out of that one? See, that one's kind of tricky because 2x and 1, the only thing they have in common is going to be a 1. So it's really not going to change anything inside. But for the purposes of grouping, we are going to want to say we're pulling out a 1. When you're doing grouping, if your 2 things in parentheses match, that means you did it correctly. So that means that we're ready to go ahead and write our answer. So your answer is going to be one of the parentheses that match. So one of our answers is going to be 2x plus 1. And then your other answer is whatever is outside of your parentheses. So our other answer is going to be x squared plus 1. And it's a plus because the 1 is positive. So this would be your final answer. Okay, let's try another one. We're going to have 4x to the third plus 3x squared minus 44x minus 33. So we're going to go ahead and group our groups of 2. And then we're going to do greatest common factor. So what's the biggest thing I can pull out of this one? It's going to be, let's see, I can pull out, well, 4. Okay, disregard what I said earlier. So for this one, okay, let's try this. So this will be an example of how you know if you messed something up. So we're going to try and factor this one just the way it was. So we can pull out an x squared. We'll be left with 4x plus 3. Oh, wait, just kidding. I think I did this one right. Yeah, Miss Morgan needs some more confidence. 4x plus 3. And then this one, what can we pull out of a negative 44x minus 33? We can pull out a negative 11. So whenever you can pull out a negative, you're going to want to go ahead and do so. And that's going to give us 4x plus 3. So if these two don't match up exactly, you did something incorrectly. It might be you factored wrong or divided wrong. It might be that you need to rearrange something up here to get it to look like this. But for our purposes, I think we should be okay to not have to rearrange anything. I thought we were going to have to, but we don't. It's okay. So ours match, so we're good to go. One answer is going to be 4x plus 3, and the other answer is going to be x squared minus 11, because that's what's outside. So this would be your final answer. All right, I want you to try this one on your own. We're going to have x to the third minus 7x squared plus 16x minus 112. Take a second to try that one. All right. So go ahead and group our things together. The biggest thing I can take out is an x squared. I'm going to be left with x minus 7. 16 and 112, the biggest thing I can take out between those two is going to be 16. And I'll be left with x minus 7. These match. I'm good to go. It's going to be x minus 7 and x squared minus 16. Oh, I'm sorry, x squared plus 16. And this would be your final answer. If you're ever unsure, you can always factor this out and distribute this out, and you should end up right back here. Okay, so that is grouping. So now let's move on to Miss Morgan's absolute favorite type of factoring. She is so excited. Okay, let's find my notes here. Okay. So my favorite type of factoring is, it's called trinomial. So this is when a is greater than 1. So we learned how to do it when a was 1 the other day. We made our x method. So this is when your a is greater than 1, and also your a is not a perfect square. So this is one where we have something like this. We have 2x squared plus 17x plus 35. So 2 and 35, those aren't perfect squares, so we can't do what we did the other day. So before I forget to mention it, in Delta Math, they do this type of factoring a little bit differently than I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do the AC method. They're showing you a different method of how to do it. So I'm going to teach you my way because I think it's the easiest. If you're doing this in Delta Math and you get it wrong, it's going to show you something differently. If you think you prefer their method, go ahead and watch their help video, see how they do it, and that's perfectly fine by me. But I just want to give you that forewarning beforehand. So when your A is greater than 1, you have to multiply your A and your C together. So 2 times 35 is going to give me 70. And I want to know what are 2 things that multiply together to be 70, that add to be 17. So this one's going to be pretty simple. It's going to be 10 and 17. So now that I have that, I'm going to rewrite this expression using these new factors because I'm not changing anything because 10, this should be 7. 10 plus 7 is still 17x. So I'm not changing anything. I'm just rewriting it in a different form. And you're going to want to put it in order so that way your terms you're writing in have something in common with the terms behind it or in front of it. So that way you can do grouping. So for instance, I'm going to want to put the 10 with the 2 because it has more in common than the 2 and the 7. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2x squared plus 10x plus 7x plus 35. So these are the same expressions. I just rewrote that 10 plus 7x differently than the 17x. So now that I have 4 terms, I'm able to go ahead and do my grouping that we just learned how to do. So then I'm going to do my factoring. I'm going to have 2x. I'm going to have x plus 5. I can pull out a 7 and I'll be left with x plus 5. These match up, so I'm good to go. So my answer is going to be x plus 5 and 2x plus 7. And this is a lot of times referred to as the AC method. This is my favorite thing. I think it's so much fun. Hopefully you all think the same. I know you don't, but just pretend like you do. So 3x squared plus 8x plus 4. So we're going to go ahead and multiply. We're going to have 12. We want 2 things that multiply together to be a 12, but add to be an 8. In this case, it's going to be 6 and 2. So we're going to want to put the 6 with the 3 and the 2 with the 4, because in this case, if we put the 3 with the 2, I wouldn't be able to factor anything out, and we're always trying to factor something out. So we're going to have 3x squared plus 6x plus 2x plus 4. Do our grouping. We're going to be able to pull out the 3x here, be left with x plus 2. Pull out a 2 and be left with x plus 2. They match, so we're good to go. We're going to have 3x plus 2 times x plus 2. and these would be your factors. All right, let's go over here to the side. I want you to take a second to try 5x squared minus 44x minus 9. Also, please note that something I just remembered I haven't mentioned yet. These are always equal to 0 before you start factoring. I'll be sure to make a note of that before we go over this. Always equal to 0. So take a second to try and factor this one. This one's a little bit, not really necessarily harder, but a little bit trickier when it comes to the factors. Miss Morgan's room is like 30 degrees. She's freezing. Okay, so we're going to multiply. We're going to have negative 45. And we want to know what's two things that multiply together to be negative 45, but add to be a negative 44. This one's a little bit tricky, and it's going to be negative 45 and 1. So for this one, it's really not as apparent which one you should put next to the 5 or which one you should put next to the 9. So if ever you do this and you get down to here and your parentheses aren't the same, that most likely means you need to switch them. So for this one, we're going to do, we'll put the 1 with the 5 because those are smaller numbers. Then we'll try our grouping. We can pull out an x, so then we'll have 5x plus 1. We can pull out a negative 9, and we'll be left with 5x plus 1. Perfect. And so they match, so we're good to go. And this is going to be our answer. All right, we have just finished our quote-unquote factoring boot camp. We learned 6 different types of factoring, and hopefully we're masters. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, please reach out to me. Let me know. I'm here to help you. Hope you all are doing great. Miss Morgan's making this on a day that we have it's a Friday, so we're virtual anyway, but this is our snow week where we got a big snowstorm. So please make sure you're staying on top of your assignments. You're staying warm and safe if it's still wintry outside. If not, if it's spring, I hope you're enjoying the warm weather. Have a great day. Let me know if you need anything. See you when I see you.